Okay, in this lesson we're going to learn how to set up PrepTest 64 game number 1. This is a pretty straightforward sequencing game. If you read through the scenario, all we're doing is taking 6 new employees. Those 6 employees are R, S, T, V, X, and Y, and we are assigning each of them to one of 6 numbered parking spaces. So to set up a standard sequencing game, we just draw 6 blank spaces. Let's move right on into the rules and inferences. So our first rule tells us that Young must be assigned a higher numbered spot than Tagawa. A higher numbered means that Young is going to come later in our list. So T comes before Y. The next rule says Shu is assigned a higher numbered space than Susa. So again, Susa comes before Shu. And our third rule says Robertson is a higher numbered parking space than Young. So Young before Robertson. Our fourth and final rule says Robertson must be assigned parking space 1, 2, 3, or 4. We don't need to write that rule out because we can draw it directly into our diagram by just saying that Robertson cannot go in space 5 or 6. Now let's go ahead and see if we can make any inferences. We have no if-then statements, so there's no contrapositives that we can make. However, we can combine this rule and this rule into one that says T comes before Y comes before R. And if we use that inference for just a moment here, you can see that R cannot come earlier than the third space because both T and Y have to be before R. Therefore, we can say that R can't go here and R can't go here in space number 2. You may notice that that leaves only 2 possible options for where R can go. Therefore, we have some limited options. So let's go ahead and build out those limited options. So let's get all of our stuff on the page here. Let's quickly write out our rules again over here just so that we have them on the page to look at. And build out our 2 limited options. In the first option, R goes in space 3. If R goes in space 3, we know that T and Y have to be in that order in spaces 1 and 2 because of our inference. Spaces 4, 5, and 6 are going to be S, V, and X, and we can say for sure that X can't go here because S has to come before X, and S can't go here because X has to come after S. Therefore, this space could be either V or S. This space could be either V or X, and space 5 could be any of the 3. In our second limited option, R is going to go in space 4. If R goes in space 4, unfortunately, we don't really know exactly where anybody else goes because we have a couple of arrangements possible for T and Y in the first 3 spaces. But we can at least limit our options a little bit. We can say for sure that, for instance, Y can't go in space 1, and X can't go in space 1 because we know that each of those letters has something else before it. Likewise, we can say that T and S cannot go in space 6. And since R is here in space number 4 and Y needs to come before R, we can say that Y can't go in 5 or 6. So we do have some limitations on this second option, but it's definitely the more open of the 2. And that is how you set up game number 1 from PrepTest 64.